So let's kick off. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we're hosting this webinar from the lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional owners of this beautiful land and the traditional custodians. And I'd like to pay my respects to the elders, both past, present, and emerging. So welcome to everyone. I'm very excited to be hosting this webinar today. I'm joined by my co-host, Alan Hinton, who's the head of service delivery for Webvine. And we're really looking forward to talking to you today about the Microsoft technology trends for 2023. So before we kick off, I want to let you know a bit about us, Webvine. So we are a digital transformation consultancy based in Sydney, and we love energizing and transforming organizations and their teams by using the incredible suite of tools from the Microsoft platform. So we'll be talking a bit more about those today. And we're also the creators of Ingeo. Ingeo is a fantastic intranet accelerator. It's ready to go and fully customizable. It's packed with features and built on SharePoint, which means that you can take advantage of this incredible suite of Microsoft tools that we're talking about today. So it's fully integrated to make the most of that. So Ignite happened a little while ago, and as usual, Microsoft always provides an incredible amount of updates, and this Ignite was no exception to that. There were so many different topics covered. But what we've done today is pull together a curated list of updates that we're going to be talking through with you. We've really tried to capture the ones that we think are going to be the most relevant. Please remember to submit your questions. You can do that throughout the webinar because we will have a bit of Q&A time at the end. Let's kick off with a bit of a quote from Microsoft. It's always good to start with a quote. I'll read this to you. We believe that energized, empowered employees are the key to a durable competitive advantage for every organization. Empowering today's digitally connected, distributed workforce requires the right culture and the right technology. That's such a great statement, which really encapsulates the approach for Ignite this year. And Microsoft's big focus is on providing solutions that do connect people and improve the employee experience. So we've seen the power of tools like Teams and what it's been able to do to enhance connection digitally. And the addition or focus that's really coming about recently is how Microsoft has been looking to enhance the time when people are actually together in the office. So we're going to be exploring a bit of that today as well. We always like to start our webinars by gauging where you're at. And so this is our poll for today. We really love to hear about what's your biggest priority for next year. So we've got a couple of options for you to consider and love you to cast your vote in the poll. So the 4 options are, is your biggest priority bridging the gap between on-site and remote workers? Is it security and data breaches? I'm sure that's going to be a popular one. Is it pushing your technology to deliver more productivity, or is it delivering better hybrid meeting experiences? So please go ahead and cast your votes now. I can see the votes are coming in. I've got a few more people to participate. There's already an outstanding winner. I don't know if you can guess which one it is. All right, I'm going to call it. So it's actually the 3rd one, pushing your technology to deliver more productivity. Okay, that's fantastic. So yeah, hopefully there's some insights we can share with you today that will help to do that. So thank you so much for voting. Okay, let's jump into looking at the fusion of digital and physical spaces. And I do have another quote for you. And this is an interesting one. So the future of work necessitates a new approach, one that helps people connect to space and to one another in considerably more dynamic and engaging ways. And that's the perfect intro to the first update I want to share with you, which is called Microsoft Places. So Microsoft Places, there's this new catchphrase of transforming your space into a place. So Microsoft is talking about creating better, even more inclusive employee experiences, and then capturing the data from those experiences to provide insights that guide space optimization. So over this journey of hybrid times, Microsoft has recognized that employers are looking for a reason for employees to be in the office. And they've identified that that reason is together time. So when they can be there with their other colleagues. But what they found is that a lot of organizations find this to be a logistical challenge. So Microsoft Places seeks to address the more practical challenges of hybrid work by looking at identifying who's going to be in the office and when, how to book a space that fits a particular need, which meetings do I need to come into the office, so these types of things. So what we're seeing here is a dashboard, and you can see some of the scheduling options where you get to select, when you're in the office, and you can have visibility as to your co-workers and when they'll be in the office. And there's also the intelligent booking capability where it can identify what's the right room for you based on the technology that you need. As you can see here, Friday is not a popular day to be in the office, according to this example.
I would agree.
Yeah. So next is a bunch of other features, including called wayfinding, which is a map on your mobile device, which guides you to a conference room that's going to be appropriate for you. Hot desk booking, where you can select where to find a desk near your friends or colleagues that you need to be working with. And one that I really love is the serendipitous meetups. So in this example here, they've created a poll who they're going to do a coffee run in 5 minutes time, and you click to attend that. I think that's kind of cute. So all of the data that's collected around this is going to provide much more information about expected occupancy. And so it's really going to enable organizations to plan better. So that, for example, they could reduce the number of floors on a Friday when they're expecting low occupancy, so that they make sure that those people in the office are actually going to be in there together. And that also gives them the option to save energy on the floors that are not being utilised. So I think that's going to be quite an interesting capability. So Microsoft Places will be integrated with the Microsoft 365 solutions like Outlook and Teams and Viva, and it will be available in 2023. So I'm really looking forward to jumping into that. Okay, next we have a bit of a team collaboration enhancement, and this is through the Edge browser. So Microsoft has introduced Microsoft Edge Workspaces. And the idea behind this is instead of sharing links back and forth, so browser links, you could actually create an Edge workspace, which is a set of shared websites similar to a tab manager, but it has a few more management features. So what you can do is send one link, and that will give access to the whole collection of websites or browser access files that are relevant to a particular project group. So they're really seeing this is going to be relevant for projects and project teams where you have access to a whole collection of different tabs. And if you're working on multiple projects, then you can create an Edge workspace for each of the projects that you have. So this is available now in public preview, and the preview feedback is that it's a real time-saving device for those teams that are working together on lots of content. So now I'm going to hand over to you, Alan, to jump right into the security side of things.
Excellent. Thanks, Chloe. So please, any questions you have, please post them in the poll, the Q&A, ask away, and we'll answer them at the end. So please, this session's for you, so ask away on any topic you'd like. First up, security. Security is such a big thing. We hear about it in Australia a lot, and we hear about it globally, that there are people, major data breaches and other things that are going on with the organization. And Microsoft has recognized this. This is a massive focus area for Microsoft, and because they have a lot of your data, and they want to ensure that you're protected so that you can avoid any of these costly data breaches. Microsoft did a bit of a study on this, and they found that companies reported an average of 20 data security incidences a year. Now, these are big and small, but 40% of them had a financial impact of 500,000 USD or more per incident. So when you think of it in those terms, your security is fundamental, and Microsoft realizes that, and they did a series of announcements at Microsoft at Ignite to help you on this journey. And we'll go through some of those today. So a few of those areas they focused on was they have a Microsoft Defender set of tools and capabilities. And so they further announced more capabilities in this. And so they announced Defender for DevOps. And for you, those of you that have code development and code programming as part of your suite of offerings, they offer Defender around that. They also offer Defender for Cloud Security Posture Management, which is quite a mouthful, but effectively it's all about identifying those where you're weak in your cloud solution. So you may be part of, for whatever reason, you may be part of a few different cloud solutions. So Microsoft can help with finding those weak spots across your cloud configuration, and then help you strengthen that and offer suggestions and things you can do around that. So that's the Cloud Security Posture Management. Then they continue to enhance Defender, and they've got this concept called External Attack Surface Management, which, think of it outside of your firewalls, outside of your network, those other systems, those other places. A great example of this is Shadow IT, where an employee puts down their credit card and all of a sudden they've got a brand new shiny new system that you've not secured or you've not vetted, you've not done anything. All they've done is just bought it. So that's an example of where this external attack surface management comes in. It can help with that as well as other things. Now, outside the Defender world, they've also released some new enhancements called a new capability and solution called Microsoft Entra, Identity Governance. And the idea behind this is that, it sits over top of a few of the existing solutions and helps to ensure the right people have the right access to the right resources at the right time, both for on-prem and cloud. So it helps streamline and improve that. So that's something that Microsoft are really keen on, is making it easier for you to do this tricky topic of securing everything that you do. Another exciting thing that I've seen announced at Ignite is the lifecycle workflows. So the idea behind this is that it manages those employees that join, it manages the employees that move around to different parts of the organization, and it manages the offboarding. So it's all about that process and ensuring that people have the right access to the right information, especially with people moving around in the organization. We see this more than anything else, is you were in marketing one moment, you move to risk the next, you've got access in both places. It helps ensure that process is managed and dealt with appropriately. So it's a really important area. And those of you that may be a little closer to the Microsoft world and hearing about Microsoft Purview, this has been around for quite a while now, but it's always been in a beta public preview mode. Microsoft Purview has now been officially launched. And the idea around this is unified data governance. So it's all about data. It's all about data on-prem. It's all about data in multi-cloud. It's all about data in software or SaaS data. And it's about mapping it out, landscape, where all the data is and how it's being secured. It also has sensitivity protection around it, and really end-to-end data lineage from cradle to grave of your data. So it's a really powerful capability that Microsoft are now officially going live with. So it's a really powerful, and all of these elements, and there are a lot more in the security world, but these are the ones that we've seen Microsoft have really put a lot of effort into. And it's something, if you're using Defender today, you should definitely look at these, especially if they are relevant to you and your organization and what you do, especially the coding one, the DevOps one. All right. So moving on from security, we're now going to go into Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams for the last few years has had so much uptake and so much enthusiasm. And Microsoft's continued that in Ignite. And Microsoft's first foray into the Dataverse. Now, the Dataverse, if you don't know that concept, it's effectively a digital version, the virtual world of people and how they interact. And Microsoft last Ignite did a lot of stuff around the Dataverse. If you've seen anything from Facebook lately, they're doing a lot in the metaverse and the data, So this is Microsoft's first, ready to go. Well, it's in private preview right now, but it will be. And it's a digital avatar of yourself. And where I see the benefit of this is really in that break from the camera that I'm looking at right now, having to constantly be on screen all the time. People, that's a big issue for a lot of people now, 2 years on with COVID and everything. So this avatar allows you to have that digital representation of yourself, and people still feel like they're talking to you. Some organizations are going to love it. Some are going to hate it. Some people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate it. You should start exploring it, because when you get Microsoft and Facebook jumping into these big worlds, Google's not going to be far behind. And those big tech companies, this is going to be part of that future. So I encourage you to start to test the waters on where your organization sits with this and how do you go about doing it, So it's a really important thing. Next, on the Teams journey, Excel Live. This is that ability for people to, in a meeting, work collaboratively on an Excel spreadsheet at the same time in a very dynamic and engaging way. Now, you could do this before by sharing an Excel document and having collaboration. The one difference between this and that is that you could change your view, you could change which tabs, you could do stuff, and it doesn't impact the rest of the people. They actually continue working in their Excel spreadsheet the way that they're comfortable. So it's a new feature of Teams, and it's available now. So I definitely encourage you, especially for the spreadsheet people I'm talking to on that, you'll definitely enjoy that. Another area that's really interesting with Teams is Teams Premium. So everyone right now is on Teams generic, if you will. They're launching Teams Premium. And there's some really exciting new features of this. There'll probably be a cost. Actually, I'm pretty sure there's a cost to this. So you'll have to explore that. But some of the nice features that we've seen with Teams Premium is the concept, especially the branding of your lobby. So you could have your corporate colors, your corporate logo all in there. You can also have together modes and all of that that's also branded and organized. Meeting guides is about how to launch a certain type of meeting, whether it be a client call meeting or a brainstorming. All of Teams can be pre-configured to support that. So, meeting guides is okay. Lobby, branding it, that's good, especially when you do a lot of client-facing meetings. The next set of features for Teams Premium is really good, and I think this will benefit a lot of organizations. The recap feature of it is called Intelligent Recap, and it uses artificial intelligence to work out, action items for meetings. So if someone says, yeah, I really need to do that, becomes an action item. The system is able to work that out. It also has headings and insights and screen sharing capability and enhancements and recognizing who's talking and things like that. Next up is live translation, and this is AI-powered translation. So especially in organizations that are very much in a globally diverse organization, translation is so empowered. And then we've got some, background watermarking of recordings from a security perspective. Next up, low-code Power Platform. So think Power Platform stuff. Microsoft have done a whole bunch of this stuff. And what Microsoft did was they really did, in this whole great resignation world of people leaving for other jobs, you know, if you can empower your people and create new things for them to do that excites them and train them and upskilling them, really powerful, that they may stay with you longer, or you may be able to fight back against the great resignation. So using the Power Platform as a way to get some of those people engaged can be very useful. So some of the enhancements that have come along on the Power Platform, we've got this concept of Copilot, which converts natural language to flows. So I can write in, hi, I want to build a flow that does this. And this is, it will build it for you. Co-authoring of Power Apps. This is important when you get multiple people building Power Apps together. You can do this real time, like almost like working on a Word document. Cross-tenant data sharing data across across other organizations. So if you want to give your sales figures for partners and make it real time for them, you can do that kind of thing. AI Builder is all about document processing and looking at the documents and turning them out, and taking that data in the documents and processing it. There's some more support for that. Power BI has a home now in OneDrive and SharePoint, where you can link and share Power BI activities. Power Pages is a brand new capability to the Power Platform, and it's all about using the Power Platform to create publicly visible websites. So you could effectively abandon and walk away from you know, other platforms like WordPress and other things like that, and have a consistent set of platform to do that. So Power Pages is a very interesting thing. It's a bit costly, but it's worth exploring if you are looking to reduce your technology footprint. Last but not least, on the Power Platform, there's also the concept of managed environments. So the ability to manage different environments and control that. So that's really powerful. Next up, Viva. If you don't know anything about Viva, you've got to learn it. You've got to figure out what it is, because Microsoft are as promoting Viva like they're promoting Microsoft Teams. It is their next big deal, and it crosses so many different things. So if you don't know, you'll get a sneak peek here, but it's something you should explore. So we've got lots of features from Ignite on that. So we've got Viva Connections, and Viva Connections is all about linking and giving information to employees. So there's connections into Microsoft Teams. There's also connections into other platforms in the Viva world, Viva Learning and Viva Topics, taking information from those modules and putting them into Viva Connections. Viva Engage, another module that Viva comes with. And you can take feeds of information from those platforms, put them in the connections area as well. And then there's some dashboards and cards you can do as well. And so Viva Connections is really powerful. Next up, Viva Engage. Viva Engage is all about bringing people together to connect in communities, join discussions, discover and share knowledge. So they've got this concept of storylines and stories that employees can create in bigger organizations that can then share their experiences that they're having, and milestones and other things. So Viva Engage is a powerful new capability of Microsoft. And I definitely encourage, if you use Yammer today, it's something you should explore. You get it as part of that licensing. So it's something worth exploring, especially if you're not too happy with Yammer or you want to go in a different direction. Another part of Engage is this concept of Leadership Corner. It's coming in 2023. But effectively, it's that corner where people can engage with leaders. Leaders can engage with people. You may not have this, or it may be in other areas. So it's that place leaders can launch Ask Me Anythings, where employees can ask them a topic about anything. They can run surveys and join discussions and get information about those organizations. Insights, another Viva component. You can see how many components there are for Viva. The insights around, and there's some team enhancements, Microsoft Team enhancements here, where if I send a message in Teams, it could schedule it to be sent at a certain work hour. So if you're sending someone a message in Japan, you can time it so that it's their working time, which I really am looking forward to. Effective meetings. We have a lot of meetings on Teams. There's a little survey and feedback and categorization that can go on with those meetings to give you more insights into whether you're running effective meetings, whether there's areas where you can improve. There's also mindful breaks that Microsoft Teams are coming where you can schedule a quiet time. So it's really important. A lot of these things are all wrapped up in that concept of digital well-being and health and employee health. So it's a very important area in sites, and I encourage you to all take a look at that. A newish module of Microsoft Viva is called Goals, and it's all about OKRs, and OKRs are objectives, key results. And that concept of taking those objectives and key results and surfacing them through Power BI, the reporting platform, or connecting it into other platforms like the coding platform, the DevOps, or Microsoft Planner, or integrating it with third-party systems like Slack, Google Sheets, Jira, etc. So it's another area that's really important, and that's Viva Goals. Viva Learning. This is Microsoft's LMS, or learning management system, and they've launched a year ago or so. Now they're doing more and more enhancements of making it more and more as a full competitor to some of the existing learning management systems, single sign-on, collections paths, etc. So I encourage you to look at that as a potential opportunity for, again, reducing your technology footprint and thinking about that. We also have Viva Topics, which is all about knowledge management and sharing knowledge amongst the organization. And so they've now, with Ignite, rolled out a number of features around analytics. So how are people using this platform? How's the health of it? Are people contributing? And then another enhancement they're doing is incorporating into other applications like emails, daily email briefings, Outlook Desktop, Viva Connections, and expanding the use of languages to include Italian and Portuguese and a number of other languages. So that was Viva in a nutshell. I do encourage you to look into it because it is here to stay, and some of it's free that you get with what you have today, and some of it you have to pay for. And over to Chloe. You're on mute, Chloe.
Thank you, Alan. That's a lot of content. You've done really well to jam that in and provide a lot of information there. So we're coming to the end of the webinar. Please do pop your questions in the Q&A tab. I can see that there are a couple of questions already coming in, so thank you very much. Look, this has just been a taster of what has been announced at Ignite this year. We've given you a bit of insight to a whole bunch of different areas, including, Microsoft's focus of really trying to empower teams and the culture with the right technology. And you can see with the focus on so many of these different areas that that's really the approach that they're taking. So I really hope that that's given you some good insights. Perhaps you want to explore some more of those points in more detail. Definitely head over to Microsoft to find out more. So we're going to jump into some Q&A now. And I can see there's a bunch of questions. Oh, one of them is, what features are you most interested in, Alan and Chloe? Well, I might kick this off. Look, I'm really interested in a lot of the wellness stuff that Viva Topics is, and the general information that's coming through with Viva around wellness and supporting employee well-being. I think that's such an interesting and growing area. So that is really interesting to me. I'm also going to be interested when we can finally use Teams to do our webinars rather than Zoom. So I know there has been some other announcements coming from Teams around that. So what about you, Alan? What's most interesting for you?
Look, I'm always a big fan of Teams. So I think the things that those things they're doing in Teams, the premium, I'm really excited to see how that action recap works, and the avatars. I'm interested to see how that gets adopted. So I think the premium features of Teams and the scheduling of the meeting, the scheduling of the messaging, I really like, because I really worry about other people's time zones and making sure that I'm not, because you can do it with email, no problem, but it's always been a limitation in Teams. So I'm looking forward to those things. Yeah.
Great. Do you want to have a look at some of the other questions? So one of the other ones here is, let's have a look. Someone's asked whether we can integrate SharePoint sites into Teams, not just a site page, but more like an application. Is that possible?
Yes, great question.
Yeah, really good question.
Yeah, so we do this all the time with our customers. It's a very common request that SharePoint is such an important, or sorry, Teams is such an important aspect of putting that information together. And so, yes, you can integrate SharePoint sites into Teams. It does require a bit of work and a bit of consideration, but it can. Yes, so great question. Yep.
Maybe we have time for one more. I'm just conscious that we're right on 11:30. Would you like to choose one, Alan?
Yeah, sure. Do you see Viva competing or complementing an intranet? That's a great question. I definitely see it as complementary. I don't see it as a competition. There's a lot of things that intranets can do that Viva will not do. So I do see as the intranet being the overarching thing, and then a lot of this content from Viva becoming accessible and integrating into the intranet. So it's actually, you use the intranet and then you integrate that content in. So it's a great question. Yeah.
Look, we do have a couple of other questions there, but we've come to our time for the webinar. Please do reach out, directly to us, and we might be able to cover off some of those questions. No worries. Look, I really hope that this has been a useful webinar for you. It's been a delight to be able to present to you, and really want to thank you for your time and wish you all the best on the 1st of December. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Take care, everyone.